What is a great Pokemon set from the Sword and Shield era that you should pick up to add into your collection or invest in for the long term? That is the question, right? Everything's going up all over the show. Things are getting more and more expensive, and I get asked so much, what is I buy? What's good? What's the next one I could get for some good gains in the future? Well, there's definitely some sets still available that you can get. They're a little bit pricey now because things are going up in price, but I still think they're going to be absolutely fantastic. And today we're going to be talking about one of the other sets. We talked about recently Crown Zenith, and we talked about Battle Styles. If you haven't checked out those videos, go and check those out because we look at both of those sets because in my opinion, they're very, very good. Well, today we're going to be looking at one that has a ton of alt arts, which we know is a good thing. It has good pull rates, which is a good thing. And it also has a very, very nice trainer gallery. We're talking about Astral Radiance. Let's get into it. Right, Astral Radiance. This is one which I don't really talk about that much. I haven't really talked about Astral Radiance, to be honest, that much on the channel as a whole, right? If you go back and you look at my other videos, I don't really talk about Astral Radiance that much. It's always about, Evolving Skies, Sheen and Rain, Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, even Silver Tempest. But poor little Astral Radiance hasn't really had much in the way of limelight, in my opinion. I do feel like Astral Radiance is going to be very, very good. Now, why? Is because it's got a ton of alt arts, right? Has a big chase card, and has an insane trainer gallery, which is also on the rise. Which it kind of has everything going for it, right? Which is amazing. So today we're going to be looking at TCG Play at the booster box prices. And we're going to be looking at PokeJace at all of the single card prices and their graded prices, because we want to look at the graded prices as well, because a lot of these are going up in value and we want to see if it kind of transfers over to being graded well as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Astral Radiance booster boxes. So Astral Radiance booster boxes are on the uptick. I mean, they have been already. They're looking at 175. It's been doing very well, right? It's getting about $30 or so, $35 in value over the past month or so. It's doing very, very well. I think it was sold out on the Pokemon Center website in the US for a period of time, and I believe it's come back. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. It might be sold out again, but hey ho. Over here in the UK, it is still available on the Pokemon Center website, as they're recording this video anyway. And on top of that, the price is a bit cheaper over here, right? Over here, Astral Radiance are picking up for like 130, 135. It has gone up slightly over the past couple of months, but we're not looking at that 175 mark, right? By the time, you're paying 175 shipping and this, that, and the other, you're looking at over 180, 190 box. So Astral Radiance on TCG Player is doing very, very well. So that's one thing to keep in mind in the future. The Astral Radiance is already on the uptick, and it's kind of interesting, right? Because again, this was deemed as one of the weaker trainer gallery sets. I mean, I think everyone talked about how great Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars were, and then of course you had Silver Tempest with the big boy Lugia and the Rayquaza. It was just kind of like, well, Astral Radiance is kind of there, right? And it never really had, apart from the Machamp, it didn't really have like that many big chase cards, and even so, the Machamp still wasn't that massive. Things are starting to go crazy with Astral Radiance, including the trainer gallery, which we'll be looking at in a moment. But overall, Astral Radiance, in my opinion, is going to be a good one. Just like Battle Stars. Battle Stars is great because of how cheap it is, and it was the first set to contain alt art, so it still is an alt art set. Crown Zenith is fantastic, mainly because it has such good pull rates, and everybody loves Crown Zenith, and that set is stacked. Astral Radiance kind of goes with the other trainer gallery sets, right? Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest. When you look at Lost Origin, it's been going absolutely crazy. It's going to be a top 3 set. You look at Brilliant Stars, a very strong, super stacked set, which will do wonders in the future. And then you look at Silver Tempest and Astral Radiance. In my opinion, I do feel like the Lugia will help drive Silver Tempest, but don't forget Silver Tempest had a reprint not too long ago, right? So Astral Radiance hasn't. That's one thing to take into consideration. But Astral Radiance is kind of getting a little bit of a head start, climbing in the market value compared to something like Silver Tempest, but I do feel like both of them are very good. For me, I would probably say that Astral Radiance is somewhat of a sleeper, in all honesty. Even though it's on the uptick, it's for a trainer gallery alt art set, this is still a sleeper. Right, on to the single card. So, we have the total value of the set. If you want to buy the entire set, you look around $940, which is a lot more than Battle Stars. When I did that the other day, I think Battle Stars was like 500 and something. And I think Crown Zenith was like 700 and something. So yeah, Astral Radiance is a little bit more pricey. I've got to do Evolve Skies at some point. I'm really intrigued at that. So we have Machamp here, $154. Let's take a look at the Machamp. This big boy is climbing. I'm not a fan of the Machamp, if I'm being honest, but can't deny how well it's doing, right? So we're looking at this. So eBay, we're looking at $116, TCG Player 154, and then 109 card market. So it's a little bit more, I guess, inflated, as it were, with TCG Player compared to the others. PSA 10, though, we're looking at $270, only 2,300. That's actually not too bad. And even PSA 9 is holding somewhat of a good value. Right, so let's take a look at the graded prices. So PSA 10, yeah, look, over the past 6 months, like 160, 170, dipped to 153, and bang, it's basically doubled from that 153. So this card is doing bits if you're having a PSA 10, really doing well, which is actually quite nice to see. But then we want to look at the market prices, okay? So we have Raw is blue, and then orange is TCG Player. They were kind of neck and neck. You know, TCG Player was just slightly above the average market price, and then they kind of like intertwined, but then the TCG Player price just kept climbing and climbing and climbing, whereas the market price kind of leveled out. That's quite interesting. The average market price is around 115, and the TCG Player is like, hold my beer, I'm going to overtake you, and go up to like 150. That's quite interesting. Is there potential like buyout happening? Who knows, right? But it is actually climbing more on TCG Player. Over here in the UK, Machamp, I mean, £100 roughly. I think it's like between 100 to 120. So he is going up, to be honest. He is actually going up. Hard to pull, though. Never pulled it. No matter how many Astral Radiance packs we've opened, we've never pulled the Machamp. He is a big boy. Then we've got the Star Maces. We're talking about the Trainer Gallery. Trainer Gallery, a lot of the big Trainer Gallery cards, Brilliant Stars and stuff are going up quite a bit. Mainly the big hits. And Starmie was always one of the biggest hits. It was really just one of the top Trainer Gallery cards that you could pull, which really did help Astral Radiance in the past, and will continue to help Astral Radiance, I think, in the future. So let's look at the prices. We're looking at 43 on eBay, not too bad. 56 on TCG Player, which is still pretty hefty, and 45 on card market. These always get this trend of TCG Player, just kind of like on a league of its own. PSA 10, 145, so nearly triple the value in a PSA 10, 3,000 of them, and then PSA 9, about $60. So kind of breaking even on a lot of the PSA 9 raw prices as well. So we look at PSA 10, we could see what's actually running quite high to begin with, because Starmie did have a little bit of a spike, maybe probably about a year ago, and it kind of went back down. So it was running about 130, and we got the lowest here, what, 100 roughly, and now we're looking at 150. So it's bounced back up by about 50% over the past 3-4 months, which is actually pretty impressive. So the PSA 10 price doing pretty well. Now let's take a look at the market price. So in the same trend, right? TCG Player running above the market price. Then they were intertwining, and then they kind of split apart from each other, but again intertwining. And then over the past, probably this month really, we've started to see the same trend, right? The average market price is plateauing. TCG Player is rising way higher above it. Again, is there a lot of potential manipulation going on? It seems strange that we're seeing this pretty much across the board. When we looked at Battlestars as well, we kept seeing it, right? We kept seeing that TCG Player, over the past month or so, was breaking away quite a lot from the average market price across different markets. Then we got the Origin Form Dialga art, one of my favourite arts in the set. This set has a ton of arts, by the way. In my opinion, some of the nicest as well. So over here, we're looking at 38 to 50 to 37. So TCG Player, again, inflated compared to some of the others. PSA 10, $100. This must have gone up. Yeah, looking at it, it looks like it's gone up. Because I was going to say, I remember looking at picking one of these up on eBay over here. I don't know how much they go for now. But like, I saw like a PSA 10 for 60 as an example. So, hey, look, it's clearly gone up. 2,000 of them, PSA 10, 1,400, PSA 9 of 44. So again, pretty much even there. So let's look at the PSA 10 price. So yeah, I would expect it to have gone up. Yeah, so we're looking at like $60-$70, and now we're looking at 120. So it's nearly doubled in value over the past 6 months in the PSA 10. I was thinking to myself, hang on a minute, this has definitely gone up. Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. Right, let's look at the market price. Let's see if we've got a similar trend compared to some of the other cards. Oh boy. So this card is intertwined for ages. I always thought that this card was like, yeah, like around that $30, $25-$30. Even in pounds, over here this was like £25-30. So it's quite interesting. So yeah, pretty much intertwined the whole time, and then over the past month, TCG Player like we've seen with a lot of the other cards, has just broken away, with the market price going up all the way up to 50, with the average market price is about 36 to 38. Interesting. Good card though. Next we have the Garchomp V, which is another good trainer gallery, big trainer gallery. This one's actually jumped up quite a bit. I did a video recently where I covered the most expensive trainer gallery cards of the price climbs, and at the time, this was maybe like a week or so ago, the Garchomp was like $30 roughly, yeah, it's not quite like that now. So we're looking about 20, 50 and 30. I don't know what's going on with this. So PSA 10, 75. The 75 is not bad if you bought it at 20 or 30, but if you bought it at 50, that kind of feels poor, right? 1,500, and then yeah, look, PSA 9, could you imagine getting it graded, and you bought it for that and graded it, and it got a 9 and come back with that? It feels kind of bad, right? So let's look at the graded price. I believe the graded price has probably gone up. Actually, it's gone down. The graded price was around $80, and it dropped to 53, and it's back up to 75, so it's actually down over the last 6 months. That's actually quite interesting. Alright, so let's look at this. Raw and TCG player. Do you think there's any form of manipulation going on TCG player? I think so. So this one was, bounced around less than $20, $18. Oh, then it went up to around 20. And then literally over the past few days, this is what I was saying. When I did my video, this card was like $30. I would say roughly, right? Might even be less than that. And then someone in the comments was like, Jace, this card's like shot massively, like in the matter of days. I was like, what? And as we can see here, look. So the average market price of this Garchomp is still roughly $20. Across the multiple markets, you're probably looking around $20, $25. But for some reason on TCG player, again, $50. What's going on? What's going on, guys? You know, so I don't know. It's risky to buy this from TCG player. Probably be cheaper on eBay. Let's be fair. It'd probably be cheaper on eBay. Next, we've got the B-Drill, which is, again, one of my favourite. It's probably top 3 card of the set for me. I absolutely love this. Beautiful. Really nice card. Never was that expensive, though. You're looking at about $30, 48 on TCG player, 31 on card market. PSA 10, 90. Again, not too bad. If you bought it at 30, you're tripling your value. If you bought a TCG player, less than 50%. And then 1,700, not too bad. 9s, again, if you bought a TCG player graded 9, kind of feels rough. Pretty bad, right? So let's look at the PSA 10 price. So the Garchomp did go down, but a lot of the other arts have gone up. So this one's gone up as well, around $50 odd, bumped up to 60, and is now on the uptick to where it is now over 100. So it's basically gone up by nearly 100%. It's nearly doubled in value, which is actually pretty impressive in all honesty. Again, here we go. Similar trend as before. You look at the market price. TCG player was actually less than the average market price, but then they were intertwining, and again, over the last few days, just days ago, this has gone from 30 where they matched, and then it just kept going up and up and up, and now it's at 50, whereas the average market is about 29.30. Again, we're seeing it with TCG player, these prices being massively inflated. You've got to be careful. Over here, you can pick this up for like 25.30 pretty consistently on eBay, so Facebook, places like that. You can pick it up cheap. You just got to be careful with a lot of these, to be fair, especially when you look at TCG player. Right, we've got the Origin Form Palkia. Let's take a look at this one. Next one. This is another art. Crazy artwork. This one, how is it doing compared to the Alga? The Alga's been doing pretty well. So we're looking at 37 there, 44 TCG player, 49 card market. So a little bit more on card market for this one. We've got $133 in a PSA 10. Not too bad, 2,000. Then we got 9 at 50. That's still not too bad. Let's take a look at the PSA 10 overall graded price. This has actually been going up. So we've been seeing that with a lot of the ORs actually. With a lot of them going up, which is actually pretty good. So $70 going all the way up to 140. So it's basically doubled in value in a PSA 10 over the past 6 months, which is pretty impressive. Right, the average market price. This one hasn't gone up too crazy. Compared to some of these other special trainer gallery ones that kind of look like they've been manipulated a bit. But TCG player was running above the market price. Then they kind of caught up because of card market, I guess. And then they have started to break away a little bit more, where TCG player is like $7 more, which isn't as bad as some of the others, but it's still different, of course, to the average market. And then finally, we're going to talk about is the Hisuian Sneasler. Now, one thing I will say with this one is when we did the pull rate data on this, when the set came out, this had the toughest pull rates. This was like 1 in 2,200 packs or something stupid. It was really, really tough. I've never pulled this. I think most people haven't really pulled this. Just look at the population of it. There's only 530 in a PSA 10. That's actually insane. I mean, I love the artwork. It's beautiful, really nice. But that is insane. $25 on eBay, 28 TCG player, 31. So it's not exactly that expensive. Bear in mind the pull rates are really tough. It's not that expensive. And then graded, even though there's not that many, is only 75, which is actually quite interesting. Bear in mind how difficult this is to pull. But graded price has gone up from around $50 now up to that 75. So not as jumped anywhere near as much as some of the other alt arts that we have seen. And let's look at what's going on here. So different story with this one, right? They're pretty much close. The average market breaking away from TCG player. But then TCG player has caught up and is now overtaking the average market. Only by a little bit, but it has bounced back. So this one's doing a little bit different, but the pull rates are super tough. So there you have it. That's what's going on with Astral Radiance. Like I say, I do feel like this is a very good set. You got a ton of alt arts in this set. Well, pretty much all of the cards are going up in raw value over time. Booster boxes are on the rise right now. I think people are starting to realize how good Astral Radiance is. And I've always felt Astral Radiance had a really strong trainer gallery. And I love the alt arts in the set. It's got some of my favorite alt arts out of all the Sword and Shield era. I think it's really good. They just didn't contain that much in the way of value compared to something like Evolving Skies and things like that. But Champ, I'm not a huge fan of, but that card's doing very, very well, of course. Graded prices, guys. Graded prices. Some of them are doubling in a PSA 10 over the past 6 months. So that's one thing to maybe look at. Maybe you got some of these and you're like, should I grade them? Should I not? Maybe look at some of the ones you have in your collection or you want to get. You're like, should I grade them? Should I not grade them? Honestly, grade them. You could do pretty well. TCG player, though, I think it's got a lot of explaining to do. We saw this trend when we looked at Battle Styles. We looked at Astral Radiance today. And if I'm being honest, it's a bit disappointing. We're seeing TCG player prices kind of spike over the past month or so. Not even past month, past few weeks. Whereas the average market price is staying quite steady. Obviously, it's climbing gradually, naturally. But TCG player doesn't seem quite natural, which is interesting. But I do still feel like Astral Radiance is the top pick. You know, I have, I think, 4 boxes. I was going to go for the full 6, but I kind of stopped halfway. I don't know why. But I've got a lot more into the trainer gallery sets as a whole. Astral Radiance is definitely one of the good ones. If you made this far into the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments about Astral Radiance. Do you think it's a great set? Do you have any? Are you looking to pick some up? Like I say, you can pick them up over here in the UK for about $130, $135 a box. Of course, on TCG Player, it's really, really expensive. And then on top of that, it's still available on the Pokemon Center website. As I record this video anyway, so maybe you can pick some up there as one other option. But yeah, single card prices are climbing, booster boxes are climbing, graded cards are definitely climbing. But watch out for TCG Player though. But if you want to know my talk about Battle Styles, if you haven't seen me talk about how great Battle Styles is, I know it sounds crazy, but make sure to click the video on the screen. And if you watch more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that is it from me in today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you all in the next one.